Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Ashcroft, and I'll be speaking tonight on behalf of the development team of Jonathan Rose Companies and L&M Development Partners, who were selected by HPD in response to the Sustain NYC RFP to create a new mixed-income, mixed-use community in East Harlem. As most of you know, the RFP came out of the community planning process, which was conducted in 2016 and resulted in the East Harlem Neighborhood Plan. That plan called for more housing that was affordable, the creation of select areas of density, more commercial and retail opportunities while supporting the small businesses currently in place, an emphasis on, that's the wrong way. Nope.
Try down. Nope.
Or up. No, let me try this.
Nope. Don't press that button. Sorry.
Some technical difficulties.
We can do that.
I can just click it on the PDF if that helps.
Mm-hmm.
And then
She tried to do the advance and it just went white.
Why is it misbehaving? I'm very sorry about this. No.
oh, so that scrolls on the wheel.
No, it's working on the clicker now.
Oh, up, down?
Yeah.
Up, down. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Back on track. So that plan called for all of the things you see on the screen right here: housing that was more affordable, the creation of select areas of density, more commercial and retail opportunities while preserving the small businesses currently in the neighborhood, an emphasis on safety and security, and more open space. We believe that our project, Sendero Verde, which means a green pathway, will do all of this and more, and we're really excited to share it with you tonight. Our firm, Jonathan Rose Companies, has built numerous award-winning projects that have created new models for green affordable housing with mixed income communities and mixed uses in transit-rich locations. We approach every project as unique and unique to the community, and we take special care and attention to make sure that we're building the best possible project and including community serving elements that will enrich not only the residents of our site, but also the community surrounding the site. We have centered our practice at Jonathan Rose around this concept of communities of opportunity. The goal is, and this is a grand goal, but the goal is that one day every person will have an affordable residence in a vibrant community filled with promise and opportunity for a good life. And this is our next project to help fulfill that vision, along with our development partners and the strong community partners that we have in place for this project. So I'll give you a quick summary of the community partners that we'll be working with on this site. The idea for this site is for Mount Sinai to provide health and fitness programs with a special focus on preventative health. And they'll be working together with the YMCA, who will be providing a space with therapeutic pools and exercise space. So that'll connect right back to the programs at Mount Sinai. We've also included Union Settlement. This is a well-established social service provider in East Harlem. And the focus for this particular center will be on senior services during the day, after-school programs in the afternoon, and then activities for teens after 6 p.m. And lastly, we are really excited to announce a partnership with Dream Charter School. We've worked with them on a project in the past on 104th and 2nd Avenue, which is their elementary school location. And we're really excited that this site will provide the opportunity to create a high school there so that students will be able to travel through DREAM from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. So I'll now hand it over to Blake Middleton. He is with Handel Architects, who will walk you through the architecture and urban design for the site.
Does this thing work? Yes. Great. That way I don't have to bend down that low. Good evening, everybody. Madam Chair, members of the board, and East Harlem. I want to see if I can do this somewhat concisely, because I'm sure there are going to be a lot of questions tonight, but walk you through the organization and the ideas behind our proposal for Sendero Verde on this site between 112th Street, 111th Street, Madison Avenue, and Park Avenue. One of the interesting things about the site was you see this sort of purple dashed line running through there. That was an approximate map of the Lenape Indian Trail that actually ran through this part of the upper portion of Manhattan a good 500 years ago. It was a little discovery we made as we were first conceiving of our response to the RFP from NYCHA. And this also just shows you the sort of characteristics of the streets, which you know very well, somewhat strong retail presence on Madison Avenue, less so, and certainly the elevated railroad on Park Avenue. And those conditions also sort of gave us some fuel for thinking about how we would want to organize the massing of the site. This is a diagram, so it really just shows our sort of conceptual thinking when we first approached this in the design competition, of thinking about taking as much floor areas that would normally fit within the zoning envelope of the block, and how we could reorganize that to provide up to approximately 650 affordable housing units. So it's a very dense site. It's very ambitious in terms of our programming. On top of that are the 4 different community partners that Sarah was just mentioning, and this gives you an idea of what our thoughts were. So this would be the block as it normally would be conceived, and those little sort of missing teeth there in the continuity of the street wall are actually out parcels. They're not part of our site or property of the city, and so they were not included in our design response, but we had to work with that and work around it. So if you imagine removing a portion of that continuous street wall in order to provide space for the 4 community gardens that we're also preserving on this block, but rearranged in a different location than they are currently. And our goal here was to place those gardens on the south side of the block so that we can maximize daylight opportunities, sunlight, for those gardens so that they could thrive and grow. And then you'll see a sort of center space in the middle of the block. And that was the idea that we had of creating this new path, this new public access to the center court of the whole block, so that there's a public access concept linking the community gardens as well as the center courtyard space, all publicly accessible. Then we looked at trying to lower the height of the south building, what we call Building C, which is along 111th Street, in order to gain more light into the block, particularly the center of the block, for daylight there, as well as to enhance the daylight conditions for all the new housing units that are composed within the building blocks themselves. And then all that sort of dark blue stuff up there, we then, well, one more step, and then we're elevating the center court approximately 12 feet to accommodate some very large volume spaces that comprise the community facilities that are in the basement of the building. And I'll show you some plan diagrams of how that works. So in terms of, we're elevating the ground plane, if you will, in the center court and providing connections for the public through that center space, lifted up 12 feet off the street level. And then all that floor area, in order to get to our 650 units of affordable housing, then gets concentrated on the northwest corner in a tower, what we call Building A, and then a little bit more piled on top of the street there on the 112th Street side, which is Building B. So that was the way we conceived of organizing the block to maximize daylight around the center of the block and get southeast, southwest light into the center of the block. This is the basic composition of the project and the size of the project. Is over approximately 655 affordable units. The total gross floor area of the project, including the basements, is about 780,000, a little over 780,000 square feet. And you can see the sort of major components, yellow above being residential, and a little piece right here, also on 111th Street. Union Settlement comprises a portion of the 111th Street street frontage. The Dream Charter School, a significant portion of the 112th Street from the corner of Park Avenue all the way to about the mid-block portion. YMCA, as well as Mount Sinai, having entrances along 112th Street. And then on Madison Avenue here, some retail frontage on the ground floor plane. So this is a ground plan. We're looking at mostly the first floor, and then the center portion that you see there, where you can see a kind of a basketball court laid out on the right, and 2 swimming pools laid out on the left with an auditorium in the middle. Those components are down about 12 feet below grade, but because of the volume, like a space like this, has to stick up another 12 feet or so. So that is how the center of the site is organized, with the public accessible space in the center. You can see the 4 community gardens here, laid out side by side, in both cases, 2 there and 2 here. That white spot is the out parcel that I was talking about before. And then each of those arrows along the upper portion of the plan show the different entry points to the school at the corner, the residential portion of Building B, which is that sort of brown spot, brown zone in the center. The YMCA entrance is the blue area, another residential lobby, and then the retail space and the Mount Sinai office space entrances connected there too. Oh, excuse me. And then Union Settlement is the blue area in the bottom right, and then residential lobby and sports spaces for the residential component above that. This is the second level plan, and it really shows our conceptual layout for the open space in the center. This has not been detailed nor finely programmed yet. That's going to be part of our process. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of input from the community in terms of how all that worked, but our design intention was to create little pockets of space on the second level for each of the community partners to have some outdoor access space. So for example, Mount Sinai might have a sort of a health court over here. The school might have an outdoor eating area for, right off the cafeteria. And fitness spaces over here for the Y might be able to expand out into the open space there. And the senior housing that's located here might have what we call a porch facing out, using part of that space. But the layout is really intended to create a nice connection from one end to the other. At the far end, does this have a zapper or laser? I don't want to press the wrong button. There we go. So you see here a stair that links, a grand stair that sort of connects the sidewalk on Park Avenue up onto the court, and then back down a ramp that links the other 2 community gardens here right down to grade. This is a fully accessible outdoor space. The gardens are fully accessible also. There's an elevator located here, combined with a stair in order to get up that 12 feet to the center court space there. And all that is intended to be kind of an open flow of pedestrian use and community use in the center portion, and then the community gardens are connected by this sinuous kind of ramp that comes down and connects down to the corner at Madison Avenue. Oh, lost the button. There we go. This is a sketch rendering view from the northwest. So we're looking at Madison Avenue on the right and 112th Street along here. The Taft houses are just off the picture here. The goal in our design approach for the building was really to try to find ways to break down the scale of a not insignificantly large project. And so you can see a series of setbacks, particularly along this portion of the building here, about 45 feet along here, another about 60 feet there, rising up to about 130 feet here, and 420 feet for the tower proper.